Hi, everybody. So we are back with another episode of The Main Line, and we are kicking off Women's History Month with a very, very special guest, my favorite person, I think, in the entire world, my mother, Dr. Octavia Wiseman. So let's bring her up on the screen. Hi, Mom. How are you?
Hey there, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, I mean, I know we talk every day, all day, but I'm super excited for everyone else to learn more about you, the person, outside of just being my mother. You've taught me so much in my life, and I know that it's all come from your life experiences and all the businesses that you've been able to run and all the different amazing things you've been able to do, as well as our lineage of very strong women.
Yes.
So I definitely want to talk about all that and like what led us to today, to owning Mary & Main and building out a company that we really are going to leave a legacy with. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you again for making time tonight.
Oh, absolutely. No
Yes.
problem.
So I want you to first tell everybody where you're from, just about your childhood. What was, can I say your nickname?
No,
What? No.
go ahead, it's fine.
I'm like, what was young Aki like? Like, what was? I like to call you that. What were you like in South Carolina growing up there? What was the climate like there at that time? And kind of stop around college.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I grew up in Orangeburg, South Carolina. We have two very significant historically Black colleges there, South Carolina State College at that time, now it's South Carolina State University, and Claflin University. I grew up in a town that had lots of Black um, people that were in, like, they were doctors or lawyers or teachers, that kind of thing. And those things meant a lot and still do to this day. But
Yeah.
back then they were really significant in a lot of things that were going on in our country. And my mom taught for 35 years. Her mother taught school as well. My grandfather was a school principal. So I come from a legacy of people who were hardworking, successful professionals in that time. And my grandmother taught me from a little girl, you're going to be my doctor. You're going to be my doctor. So that was her thing. She wanted a doctor in the family. She ended up with lots more than just me, of course, but
Yeah.
she influenced me to, be interested in science and math and that kind of thing. I also attended in my elementary school and middle school, one of the few in that area, private, well, was semi-private at that time. It was a school that was on the college campus, so it was a laboratory school,
Hmm.
Felton Laboratory School, and it was like the best school in that area at the time. So I'm very proud of my mom for really trying to push me to be that doctor that her mom wanted me to be, which she did with all of us. So not just with me. So it
Yeah.
wasn't just specific for me.
How many of you guys are there?
You mean that attended South Carolina?
No, brothers and sisters.
Oh, I have three sisters. Well, two sisters and one brother. My older sister, Frederica Richardson, she's an engineer. She works for Michelin Tire Corporation. My second oldest, Diane Simkins-Worrell, she's a dentist, and she practices in St. Lucia, West Indies.
Hmm.
And my brother, the third oldest, Douglas Leon Simpkins,
Hmm.
he's an engineer, signal engineer, which is very rare to have a Black person to be a signal engineer. So they all in their own right are holding their own ground. And I'm just, the last one making it up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
You
So
were the baby.
I'm the baby of the family. Yes. Of that
What
family.
was what was that like growing up in Orangeburg at that time? So there was still, and that's in the South, there were still some race relations that you were dealing with. You were the youngest in a family that, like you said, was prominent in the area. What was that like?
Well, I don't know that I noticed it myself personally a lot. I do remember when Black Power came out, and my brother would teach us, teach me to hold my hand up and that kind of thing. They made a lot of jokes about me because I'm pretty fair skinned, but
Me too.
you know, that's all
Yeah.
okay. So that I didn't have a lot. My sister was one of the few that were in segregation, and she had to go to the school with, segregated schools. But by the time 64 came around, and I attended this semi-private school, so I didn't go to public schools until I went to high school. So I didn't see a lot of it.
And then also, you didn't share this, but you finished school early.
Yeah. I finished high school when I was 15, and I turned 16 the next month or two, ended in May, June. And
Mhm.
then I started college at 16. I finished college at 20,
Mhm.
19, going on 20. And then 20, I started at Georgetown University Dental School.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Overachiever, overachiever. That's definitely where I get it from. Hard worker, overachiever, and always striving for excellence. So
exactly.
definitely
Yeah.
get that from you.
Yeah, I'm not a no person. I'm a yes person. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. I always tell people because they always ask, like, why did you get into the cannabis industry? You were looking at it so early, you were so young. But I always explain that you taught me to be super free thinking, open minded about things, and to look outside of the box. Where do you think that mindset came from for you?
Yeah, I think for me, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
not working for anyone but myself. And so that began as a teenager, um, trying to figure that out. I also know that this world is a very large place, and that there's so many opportunities out there. So I learned just from reading and studying other people, other businesses, that in order to reach goals, you have to be able to be open minded so that you can see where you're going and how you're going to get there. And don't let anything stop you, nothing
Mhm.
get in your way. If something gets in your way, you have to learn to go around it and
Yeah.
and achieve your goal. So that's been my philosophy. I formulate a vision, and then I move towards that vision. And I
Mhm.
don't let anything tell me no.
So, what was it like? Do you remember when I first came to you with the idea to open a dispensary? What
Yes.
was that like for you? How did you feel when I came to you? Were you kind of like cannabis, or we weren't really calling it back then? We weren't calling it cannabis yet. We were still calling it marijuana or weed, even. So,
Yeah.
how did you feel when I first came to you?
Well, I definitely grew up with my, influence from my mother and my grandmother that, they thought marijuana was really bad. It's a bad drug and you can't do that. And I was a pretty much straight lace kind of young lady. And I was focused on reaching my goal, which was to be self-employed, to own my own business so that I could achieve the goals that I wanted in my life. So I never really looked at it growing up. I did have friends and other people that I saw it, and I thought it was interesting, but then I was always afraid if my mom found out, or, that kind of thing. So it wasn't until later on when I had kids, I started realizing that this thing is around. I didn't understand it. But when you came to me, the first thing in my mind, again, I'm not a closed-minded person. I'm pretty
Right.
open to new ideas. And I knew you wouldn't come to me as the person you were. You know, Hope is a pretty astute individual. She's smart and she reads, so she understands. And so she knows that she wouldn't come. I knew she wouldn't come to me with just something that was frivolous.
Yeah.
So at the time, I just said, well, let me look at it. Let me study it a little more. And you had a whole presentation done.
Yeah, well, look, I learned that pretty early. I remember you and Dad used to make me do presentations like when I wanted anything. So,
Exactly.
I want a phone for my room, a private line. You have to make a case for why you need that. So I've learned how to ask for things from you guys. And I definitely knew that you would be open to it as long as I made it make sense. You know, I couldn't just, like you said, come to you and ask you something just because I thought it was a good idea. It had to make sense for our family. And I really saw a true opportunity there. And I mean, I just really have to thank you. I thank you all the time, but I want to thank you again publicly for putting me up on your shoulders because, like, look at us now.
Yes, yes.
Look at us now.
I knew it was something big. I just didn't know how we would influence this space.
I don't
And
think I did either.
yeah,
I wasn't thinking that, you know. I remember, do you remember when we were sitting? I think we were talking at like our kitchen table about, you were like, you're probably the youngest Black person.
I remember.
Mm-hmm. And I was sitting there, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I am. And you were like, pretty sure you're like the youngest Black person ever to do something like this, you know. And then next thing you know, one of my girlfriends was around and she's a publicist. She wrote an article on it and then it just like,
It's just, yes.
yeah, it blew up because it's true. Like there are not historically, this industry has been around since around like 2010, technically in California, 1996. So it's been around for a little while. So there are people who've been in the industry for a long time. They're not Black.
Right.
Wanda James, who we had on the main line a few weeks ago. Wanda James was the first Black dispensary owner. That was in what, 2010, something like that?
Yes.
So it just wasn't that long ago. And there's very few of us. I'm pretty sure you and I know every single Black person operating in this space.
Yes. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure. So yeah, guys, it's less than 4% of the entire industry is owned and operated by Black people. And I would assume by Black women. Much smaller, probably not even a whole percent of the industry.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, we're definitely proud to be in this space and all that that we're offering to it. But Mom, I want to talk more about you as an entrepreneur. You know, it's Women's History Month. People need to know about the things that you've brought to this area and to Prince George's County. I think anyone who's watching this, if you're from Prince George's County, you've likely heard of Mitchellville Family Dentistry. So tell us more about starting your own practice almost straight out of school, and what that was like for you.
Yeah. Well, I attended Georgetown University School of Dentistry, which was quite an experience in itself. There was a lot of racism there. And I was kind of in the middle of that because sometimes the teachers didn't recognize that was I white? Was I Black? They weren't sure. So
people still not sure.
Well, I'm Black, okay?
I know.
For sure. And love it. So, you know, sometimes I heard things that they didn't expect for me to hear. But Georgetown, living in this area, I, liked the area better than being in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And I've met someone, your dad, that influenced me to stay here. So after school, when I graduated, I actually decided to stay because I was having a little one. And so, Martin drove me around to see all the different areas. And we just loved being out in the Bowie, that Kettering area. There was nothing out there at that time. There was just a 2-lane road. And I loved it because it reminded me of home in a way. And I would always say I would love to practice here. And so after I graduated, I started practicing with my sister, Diane Worrell, in Richmond, Virginia. And after a year, I opened my own practice here. So I started in 1992, August, my new practice. Hope was born in April of that year. So she was an infant at that time. And I started practicing pushing a stroller. I worked alone. I had one front desk and one assistant. And like I said, I don't accept no as an answer. And I started with 0 patients, none.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the struggle of building something from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand. So I'm just here to pass on that knowledge and that wisdom to other people, because I believe more of us need to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I love working for myself. I always have. So it's
Yeah.
a wonderful experience. So Mitchellville Family Dentistry was born out of that.
Yeah. I've watched you do that literally my entire life, and I was just so inspired by the freedom that you had in life. I've also, my father had a corporate 9 to 5, or for him 7 to 3, um, by his choice,
Yes.
job, and just seeing like kind of the differences in the way that you guys could move outside of work, really inspired me to also want to follow your footsteps in a path of entrepreneurship. And I understood kind of the differences between the two, between the stability and the instability of being an entrepreneur, and how you go through these huge ups and downs. But it was exciting to me. You took me around with you everywhere. You always joke that I was like your little best friend. I guess I was your little broke best friend that spent all your money and ate all your food. But yeah, I really, I mean, it made a big impact on my life. And I think that's part of the reason why I felt so comfortable, even at a young age, pursuing a goal that was hefty, that a lot of people to this day tell me that they are afraid to do now. Um, but I think that's part of why we are where we are, because we're supposed to inspire other people um, to seek alternative paths and to believe in themselves, even when it seems as though all odds are stacked against them, because all odds
We're
were
stacked
and still
against.
are stacked against us in this industry
Exactly. It's a fight every day. It is.
every day. It is. So then I know another thing that you've always instilled in me is legacy, building legacy, and trying to develop generational wealth. Why do you feel like that's so important in the Black community? And what do you think that the disconnect is right now? And do you think that, what do you think we can be doing? I know we have, our own internal initiatives, but what do you think the broader community here in Prince George's County, or the Black community as a whole, can be doing to further that?
Yeah. Well, I find in some Black families, they come from a group of people that are trying to teach, them about being an entrepreneur and how to better themselves and that kind of thing. But I find some have just been riding on the bus or riding on the boat, not really pushing. And it's hard. It's not an easy task. And there are days in which you think you can't make it any further. But then you pray and you ask, well, for me, I pray and I ask God to continue to give me that strength and that energy.
Mhm.
So, I say my serenity prayer and I pray about it. I ask for that vision so that if I can envision it, I can make it reality.
Yes.
I just think a lot of people have lost some of their faith in being able to envision where they could be, or they've got so many obstacles that they may not feel that they can push any further. And I always try to help people as much as I can, especially if they come in my path.
Yeah.
Coming in my path, you're going to know that I'm always going to, if I hear, well, you say, well, what do I do about this? I'm always going to kind of give my opinion to try to help you, because I'm
Mm.
not, it wouldn't help me. It's going to help you.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am. My personality is that person. I'm a giver. I believe in helping people. I've always wanted to take care of people.
Yeah.
Um, I always wanted to build that beautiful smile. So that's what I've always wanted. Yep.
Yeah.
There it
Yeah.
is.
And it's definitely, it's put us on a pathway of ownership, and being able to pass down. You talk to me about everything. And that's something that, even when I talk to other people, they're like, oh, my parents never explained that to me, or my parents have never broke down our assets as a family. I don't even know what we got going on, or I don't know this. You keep me in the loop of everything so that you can easily pass the matriarch torch to me when it is time. And I want to do the same with my children. I always say, I really hope I have a little girl so I can have the relationship that we have, because it's really, really amazing. And I mean, I have two brothers, everybody, and they're awesome as well. But there's nothing like a mother-daughter bond.
Mhm.
At least this mother-daughter bond.
Right.
It's really, really great. And I'm so thankful to have, I mean, I tell people too, like I have a mom, best friend, and business partner all in one person. So I'm very fortunate, very fortunate.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I teach all of my children the same thing. What any parent will learn is that every child learns and does in their own time, in their own way. And
Mhm.
I'm always going to lift them up, and I'm always going to be here to inspire. God put me here for that. I know that's a part of my who I am. So I'm excited about it. I look at life
Yeah,
every day as being excited. No matter what I go through, some days it gets a little tough,
yeah,
but it's okay because I wake up knowing that God still wants me to look up and do those things that He has on that plate for me.
because he woke us up, right? He wouldn't
Yes,
wake us up if we didn't have any more left to do.
exactly. So every day that you wake up, there's a new opportunity right
Yes,
in front of you. And you just have to take one step, one foot in front of the other, and do something positive for that day. And truly, it will make a difference.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. Well, I mean, you've been my inspiration my whole life, and I'm so thankful to be able to learn from you every single day. It literally never stops. I never feel like, okay, I got everything I can get out of her. It never stops. Same thing with grandma. And you know, I feel like I'm just thankful to have women, strong women like you both in my life as examples. I know not everyone has that, so I'm thankful. I don't know if I would be here today. Well, actually, I do know. I wouldn't be here today without you, 1,000%. I mean, without my upbringing and without you deciding to partner with me, there's just no way I would have done this without you. So I'm forever, forever grateful and so happy to be building this with you.
Yeah, that makes my day. That makes my whole life. I mean, it brightens my heart. So I'm so happy. Yeah, I just want to continue for us to build and enjoy life and pass on what we can. So I'm very excited to be here and to work with you. It's been truly, I'm learning every day. So if I'm still learning, I know you're still learning. And I know that other people learn every day. And never close your mind, always keep it open.
Yes,
Because God is talking to you all the time. You just have to listen.
totally.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the best, Mom. Well, I don't want to take up too much time. I know you got a full house over there of the whole fam. Maybe I'll be coming by in a second, get some
Yeah.
food. Yes, guys, your kids will be grown and still come over and steal your food. Um,
Yes. Even when they're 57. So yeah.
yes, yes. Well, thank you, Mom, so much for coming on, giving us a little bit of history about yourself and how we started Mary and Main and what's to come in the future. We're still building. We got a lot of stuff up our sleeve. We are not done.
We will
So,
not let them put us in one spot to stay
no,
there forever. We're going to continue to push forward.
yep, we are. We are. And I know I can do it with you by my side.
Yeah. Same here.
Well,
Yep.
thanks, Mom, so much. Stay. We're gonna take you off the screen, but stay in the room for a second. But thank you so much again. I love you very, very, very much.
Love you too. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, guys. So I had to get her off the screen before I started crying. You just saw a really organic conversation with me and my mom, the person who helped found Mary Main, my co-founder, my best friend. And I'm really excited that you got to hear a little bit about where she came from and probably understand a little bit more about why I am the way that I am. So, yes, next week we are going to continue Women's History Month with another presentation by a really dope woman. Stay on the lookout for that promo. But for now, I will see you guys next week at 6 p.m. right here on the main line.